This magic boy accidentally summoned an enchantingly charming succubus. Whether the boy is at home or at school, the succubus sticks to him like a shadow and remains inseparable. Even when sleeping, she stays with him. Alto is a first-year student at Ortigia Magic Academy. Despite excelling in all other subjects with perfect scores, he struggles in summoning magic class. His teacher informs him that if he fails to form a contract with a familiar by tomorrow, he will face the risk of repeating the year. Upon learning this, his childhood friend Lilia picks up a brick to confront the teacher. Alto intervenes just in time, preventing this crisis. To resolve his summoning magic issue quickly, Alto visits the library seeking reference materials, but unexpectedly acquires an extraordinary secret manual. An ancient summoning magic book falls and strikes him. Alto takes the book home. Though damaged and tattered, the summoning magic circle within remains perfectly intact. Alto immediately draws the magic circle.
Now, if thou seeks my blood, then summon forth and bid me thy name!
The newly summoned succubus immediately attempted misconduct against Alto. She offered to fulfill one wish for him. Alto then requested her to become his familiar. Thus, Alto successfully formed a contract with the succubus. However, as an exchange, the succubus decided to claim Alto's magical power. Alto instantly felt completely drained of strength. The succubus is named Vermeil. The reason she could be summoned by Alto was precisely because Alto's magical power is exceptionally dense. This density is toxic to ordinary familiars, but perfectly suitable for Vermeil, a demon. Alto questioned why she, as a demon, willingly became his familiar, since demons are high-tier fantastical beings. Each possesses power capable of destroying a nation. Such formidable demons rarely agree to form contracts with humans. Vermeil acknowledged she could have broken the contract then. But since Alto freed her from the seal, he effectively became her savior. That is why she chose to become his familiar. The next day, Alto brought Vermeil to class and informed the teacher he had successfully summoned a familiar. Seeing the human-appearing Vermeil, the teacher struggled to believe it until Vermeil revealed the contract mark, leaving him unable to refute. Alto consequently passed the summoning magic exam. Witnessing Alto suddenly accompanied by a woman, Lilia grew jealous. During class, Vermeil sat directly on Alto. The teacher reprimanded Vermeil for being undignified, but she retorted that placing a familiar on one's person was normal, and demanded he not discriminate. The teacher was rendered speechless. However, Lilia became jealous again. After school, Lilia confronted Alto and challenged him to a duel, stipulating that the loser must obey the winner's conditions. Right at the start, Lilia summoned her familiar, the wind spirit. Vermeil couldn't help but praise Lilia's considerable strength.
Lilia! That could seriously hurt me!
Shut up and take it!
Just as Lilia celebrated her attack landing, when the smoke cleared, Vermeil remained completely unharmed. Immediately afterward, under the pressure of Vermeil's aura, Lilia was terrified. The following scene cannot be shown and is skipped directly. The battle concluded with Lilia's defeat. Alto presented the winner's condition, demanding that Lilia coexist peacefully with Vermeil. Under Alto's supervision, the two shook hands and reconciled. However, after this battle, Vermeil again required Alto to replenish her magical power. Only after a satisfying replenishment did Vermeil become contented. She explained that her intense craving for magical power stemmed from being sealed for hundreds of years, necessitating his replenishment. Fortunately, Alto possessed ample magical power, sufficient to sustain a demon. If it were an ordinary person, they would either explode from being unable to withstand the magical power, or perish from complete magical power depletion. If he found kissing inefficient, Vermeil mentioned there were more efficient methods.
I'm fine with kisses, thank you!
Since Alto successfully contracted with Vermeil, he smoothly became a second-year freshman. Each day he brought Vermeil to school for classes, studying various magical subjects. However, the succubus Vermeil attracted far too much attention, causing Alto considerable distress. Hoping to maintain a low profile, he urged Vermeil to restrain herself. Yet accidents strike unexpectedly. A senior's dinosaur familiar suddenly rampaged. To avoid major commotion, Vermeil deliberately chose the simplest method to quell the disturbance. Consequently, Both gained significant notoriety across campus. However, a person claiming to be Lex from the Dragon Rider Regiment approached Vermeil, yet no one had ever heard of such a group. Finally, prompted by Lex's follower, everyone learned he came seeking retribution because Vermeil had knocked away his familiar yesterday. As the follower argued with Vermeil, Alto quietly circled behind and launched a surprise attack. A single ice-binding spell successfully froze both opponents. Just as Alto and Vermeil celebrated, Lex used a necklace to carve a magic circle, shattering Alto's seal. A red Tyrannosaurus Rex appeared beside him. Then, under Lex's command, the dinosaur attacked Vermeil and Alto. Alto momentarily froze, unsure what to do. At that moment, Vermeil suddenly embraced him from behind. Empowered by Vermeil's magic, Alto easily defeated Lex. Accepting his defeat, Lex offered a sincere apology. However, Lilia stepped forward and mocked them. That evening back home, Vermeil asked Alto why he studied so diligently every day, suggesting she could solve all his financial worries if he merely desired wealth. However, Alto stated his aspiration was to become a great mage. Mages in this country are ranked into 4 grades: gold, silver, bronze, and apprentice mage. Alto's ultimate goal was to become the strongest platinum mage among the gold-class mages. Hearing Alto's grand dream, Vermeil excitedly pulled him into her embrace, proudly declaring it was no less than expected from the master she chose. But Alto nearly suffocated in Vermeil's bosom. Vermeil assured him she would help fulfill any wish. The next day at school, their conditions were completely opposite. Lilia quickly deduced Vermeil was behind it, reasoning nothing good could come from being constantly accompanied by a demon. Just then, the academy head summoned them both. Besides Alto and Lilia, Cheryl, also a second-year freshman, received the notice. It turned out the 3 were the top students of the second year. The academy decided to select one representative for the second year from among them. To ensure fair competition, the 3 needed to undergo a test, retrieve the fairy flower from the Forest of Bewilderment before 6 o'clock, and so they arrived at the Forest of Bewilderment. However, a narcissistic, mysterious young man suddenly appeared. Named Marcus, he was also a second-year freshman, the son of a count, and Charol's young master. To prove his strength to the academy head, he decided to join the test and compete with the others. As it happened, his familiar was a beetle, which particularly favored nectar rich in magical power, giving him great confidence. But soon he was proven wrong. At this point, his servant Charol began cursing. Alto and Lilia pressed onward, finally finding the fairy flower deep in the forest, but it was guarded by a hellhound underneath it. While Alto was contemplating countermeasures, Lilia pulled out a bottle of invisibility magic potion. She wouldn't admit this was actually prepared for sneaking into Alto's room. Although invisibility could make the hellhound unable to see her, it was a dog after all, relying more on its sense of smell than sight. Lilia noticed the hellhound seemed to have a cold, meaning its nose might not work well. So, she directly drank the magic potion. Lilia's body began to turn transparent, but her clothes remained visible. Left with no choice, she had to take off her clothes. However, stripping completely in front of Alto for the first time made Lilia feel quite shy. To become the second-year representative, Lilia threw all caution to the wind. Yet Vermeil reminded Alto of their purpose for coming here. Only then did Alto react. So he asked Vermeil if she could defeat the hellhound. Vermeil indicated it would be a piece of cake for her, but required a little compensation from him. She then grabbed him and pinned him to the ground. Thus, Alto once again submitted to Vermeil's power display. Meanwhile, as Lilia cautiously approached the hellhound, one of its heads that wasn't sick detected her. Seeing her position exposed, the hellhound was about to attack. Fortunately, Alto appeared just in time using magic, successfully drawing the hellhound's attention. Alto told Lilia to seize the chance to retrieve the fairy flower. Under Alto's cover, Lilia successfully ran inside.
So sorry, hon.
Ultimately, Vermeil defeated the hellhound, and Lilia successfully plucked the fairy flower. However, Alto, drained of his magic by Vermeil, was completely exhausted. At that moment, Lilia also felt the fairy flower rightfully belonged to Alto. Just then, Lilia's invisibility magic began to wear off. Exposed, Lilia instantly flushed crimson and accidentally flung the fairy flower from her hand. By chance, it landed beside Charol. And so, without lifting a finger, Charol effortlessly became the second-year representative. The boy accidentally summoned a curvaceous succubus who insisted on clinging to him daily, refused to leave even during his baths, and occasionally subjected him to suffocating embraces. Just moments ago, a formation of flying dragons suddenly streaked across the school sky, drawing envious gazes from students. Atop the lead dragon stood a girl, none other than the captain of the Dragon Rider Regiment previously mentioned by Lex. Her name was Chris, a prominent figure at school. Though she resembled a little girl in appearance, her abilities ranked among the Academy's elite. She was not only one of the 5 executive officers of the Student Council, but also counted among the school's mere 7 gold-class mages. In short, her power was formidable. Yet powerful individuals often had short tempers. Lex's defeat by Alto, a second-year freshman, had brought shame upon the Dragon Rider Regiment, making Chris lose face. Consequently, she publicly beat Lex severely. Simultaneously, Chris developed an interest in Alto, determined to reclaim her honor through him. Elsewhere, Alto, attending physical education class, remained unaware of the impending danger. Through Marcus's introduction, Alto actually admired Chris. Just as Alto daydreamed about becoming a gold-class mage himself soon, 2 balls suddenly pressed down on him. Fortunately, Lilia intervened promptly, preventing Alto from suffocating to death. After class, all students went to change clothes. The situation in the girls' locker room remained relatively normal, but the boys' circumstances were not optimistic.
What are you doing here?
Facing Vermeil's sudden appearance moments ago, Alto was too embarrassed to speak. Just then, Lilia arrived and upon learning of this, also reprimanded Vermeil. Clearly, Vermeil, taking everything for herself, drew strong condemnation from Lilia. Afterwards, they visited the injured Lex in the hospital. It turned out Lex's followers had informed the trio of everything. Upon discovering Lex was hospitalized because of him, Alto and Vermeil decided to take the initiative. The two slowly made their way to the dueling arena, where Chris had long been waiting. Surprised that Alto actually dared to show up, she expressed admiration for his courage. However, concerning Alto's rule-breaking behavior, Chris intended to teach him a profound lesson. Immediately, she began summoning her familiar. Yet Alto and Vermeil kissed right in public. Some knew it was mana transfer, while others might think he was taking advantage. Alto, replenished with mana, directly unleashed his ultimate technique at Chris. This move startled her. For a second-year freshman, its power was astonishing. But to her, it was a trifling matter. She promptly fired a magic blast at Alto. Vermeil stepped forward to block it. Though the attack was ultimately deflected, Vermeil's arm suffered minor burns. Alto began to grow concerned. Before the two could catch their breath, Chris continuously fired magic blasts at them. To protect Alto, Vermeil had to deflect each one. After a series of attacks, Vermeil's energy was waning. The best defense being a strong offense, Alto countered by launching ice bullets at Chris, but she effortlessly shattered them all. Seeing conventional attacks prove ineffective, Vermeil instructed Alto to unleash his ultimate technique, aiming to decide the battle with this single strike. Alto then channeled his full golden mana, hurling countless ice bullets toward Chris. Even with her formidable strength, she couldn't neutralize all attacks simultaneously. Just as Alto and Vermeil celebrated their successful hit, a colossal dragon soared into the sky, with Chris now standing firmly atop its back. However, Alto was unaware that Chris reached her peak combat strength when mounted on her dragon. In modern warfare, air superiority determines the ultimate victor, precisely why Chris despised Lex. Viewing flightless dinosaurs as mere lizards, Chris immediately launched a fierce assault. Without air dominance, Alto could only dodge defensively. Spectators outside the arena deemed the outcome settled. Yet Vermeil smiled faintly before she and Alto resolved to execute their final blow. Witnessing this, Chris also summoned her strongest attack with full force. At the moment their attacks collided, Chris realized her opponents had vanished from the dueling platform. Vermeil had transported Alto directly behind her. Alto then leaped down, pinpointing Chris's vital point with precision. Ultimately, Alto claimed victory, instantly transforming him into a prominent figure within the school. He amassed a legion of adoring female fans. Seeing so many pretty girls swarming Alto infuriated Lilia. She grabbed a stone off the ground, ready to strike down these fanatics. Fortunately, Obsidian teacher at the school appeared just in time. Leveraging his striking looks, he diverted some attention away from Alto. Obsidian praised Alto's remarkable feat of defeating Chris, but disapproved of dueling itself. Winning brought fleeting glory, but losing meant submission to others' whims. He sternly advised Alto against initiating duels lightly. Afterwards, he escorted a group of female students away. Alto, utterly captivated by the teacher's charisma, couldn't help but ask Lilia if she liked Obsidian too.
Huh?
On the other side, the defeated Chris also offered an apology to Lex, as accepting the outcome of a fair wager is a traditional virtue of the Dragon Rider Regiment. Lex ultimately forgave the captain. By nightfall, Alto was sound asleep when Vermeil unexpectedly stole a kiss from him. Alto awoke, sensing something unusual, and stated that kissing should only happen with someone he likes. But Vermeil declared she liked him very much.
Now, with that settled, give me more!